We are back for episode 3 of In Full Stride. Carson Gabbaro here with Ryan Buskey. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, and you are our first state record holder to come on the pod, so thanks for joining the show. And yeah, man, would you like to get right into it and tell everybody about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Ryan Buskey. I just broke the junior class state record at Armory Trials on October 20th, and I jumped 7'1.5".
Yeah, that's just a little bit about what you've done. You've done a lot of great things in the early stages, now into the mid stages of your high school career. Before we go any further, though, today, the release date of this episode, November 11th, is your 16th birthday. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
So, besides, watching this podcast and sharing it with all your family and friends, what are you going to be doing for the Big 16?
I'm inviting a ton of my friends to a basketball court, and we're just going to play basketball for about 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you usually do during the indoor season. We're going to get more into that later, but just starting right off the bat with that big 7-foot jump that you mentioned, 7 feet and a half an inch, breaking a record that stood for nearly 5 full decades since it was set in 1977. Let's go ahead and show the people first and foremost what that looked like. Mind you, he was still 15 in that clip. Take me back through that jump, man. Just the atmosphere, your mindset, everything through that big and final jump.
So I cleared 7'1.5" on my third attempt, and going up to that, I just remember Coach Pat just yelling at me to keep calm, make sure my jump is consistent with my run up and my speed and everything. And it's like holding a pet in your butt cheeks or something like that.
Never heard that one before, but hey, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. And I just had to work on my timing and everything. But at the end of the day, I still cleared the height, and that's pretty much just it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Armory Trials is a smaller meet, so it wasn't like there was a whole lot of crowd there. But once you realized that bar was still up, once you had landed on that mat, what was your reaction?
I was just ecstatic, man. I've been trying to get 7 feet for the last year and a half now. Because the beginning of sophomore year, I was saying how I was going to clear 7 feet. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. But I still jumped 6'10", which still was a really good mark.
Unfortunately, he jumped only 6'10", right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, having something that you envisioned in your mind, just setting that goal at the early stages of your career, I think that's a huge point. So do you remember the first time that you really conceptualized 7 feet and really getting yourself to that threshold?
It was probably the second week of outdoor last year after I jumped 6'7".
Freezing cold, right?
Yeah, it was 45 degrees outside.
It was half the temperature it is right now. Beautiful November day, 70 and partly cloudy.
Yeah. But I remember asking Coach Yaman if we can bring the springboard out so we can practice on higher heights, and I think that was the first time I cleared 7 feet with that.
It makes me feel like I want to try the slingshot with 225 on bench press, just one of those big goals that I've been looking at for a while. But, back to your goal, just what would you say was the biggest difference maker for you? Because you've been in great form, as we've seen, making big sizable improvements. Coming into that sophomore outdoor season, you were at 6'6", and you ended at 6'10", and to open your season with another 2.5 inches, just what have you been working on to get yourself to that point?
I finally started going to the weight room after Pat complaining that I don't go to the weight room. And I just been trusting Coach Jay and all of his workouts and everything he puts us through, and I've been doing plyometrics.
Yeah. On top of that, though, because obviously to be able to jump 6'7", 6'9", which were your seasonal improvements, and then 6'10" on a given day, it indicates that you're in good physical fitness. But what were some mental difference makers that you found making those differences for you on your days where you get big PRs like your 7'1.5"?
I just gotta stay calm and don't get let myself get in my head or anything. Or if I don't clear height, I can't get too frustrated with myself because I know I have 2 more attempts to clear it.
Did you think that having not high jumped in competition since you won the 15, 16-year-old gold at the Junior Olympics in the summer, nearly 3 months prior, did you think that gave you a bit more of a fresh start once you approached the Armory Trials?
Absolutely. My legs felt amazing. They were so fresh. It's probably the freshest I ever felt.
Yeah, so maybe that'll carry over to your next meet, which I got to ask you, because setting a state record in just your 3rd indoor competition, again, you've not done a full indoor season yet. What are your plans going to be for this winter 2024-25 season?
I want to win the states this year because unfortunately last year, even though being seeded first, I still no-highted. I don't want to let that happen again, and I'm just going to try to show everyone that I'm not like a big meat choker like a lot of people say.
I think he's doing indoor, guys. So what's been the big thing that's pushed you over to finally come out and do an indoor season? Because I know it wasn't an easy decision. It hasn't been an easy decision, but what was it for you?
It was jumping 6'10" at sectionals last year. After that, I decided that maybe I should do this thing more often.
And that's kind of bittersweet, though, right, too, because you were 1 inch away from the sophomore state record at the time. And, again, that's something that you had envisioned ever since you were a freshman, coming within 2 inches of the freshman state record. So there you are, within 2 inches with 1 inch, just getting closer and closer. Where do you derive your tenacity from when it comes to chasing down those high marks?
For me, I just think about Cam Corrett and how he said he was going to beat me at every single meet. And I just had in the back of my mind, I just got to make sure he can't catch up to me.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Cam Corrett, one of Ryan's ex-teammates here at Colony High School where we are. In fact, the high jump mat's in there right now. I think I've yet to mention we're in the off season. The mat still isn't set up on the new track. But again, you had a lot of guys that last year, including Nick Millett, a pentathlete who's in the mid-sixes for high jump, just really pushing you and bringing the best out of you. So could you kind of take me through what the vibe was like when you guys practiced together?
Our practices were pretty interesting. Every once in a while, I feel like we have a meet. Coach John would have us do endurance jumping. So we would start at 6 feet, and every time we would go up, if you missed, you go back down. So we would do that for an hour. It was so bad.
Yeah.
But the vibes overall were all pretty positive because all of us were top 10 in the state pretty much the whole season.
Yeah. From start to finish, really, when you look at the numbers. I love the atmosphere, though, of a high jump practice. Not that I've ever really been a part of a formal one, but all the time, I remember back when I was in high school, after practice, sometimes even during practice, me and my friends, we would all just go fool around on the high jump mat, try and scissor jump 5 feet and fail miserably. It's just such a fun, loose atmosphere. Do you guys have any fun moments that you remember from practice?
When our track was starting to get redone, towards the end of the season, I remember at Mohonason, me and Cam tried to jump 7 feet, and if you've been at Mohon, the mat and the setup is down a hill. It's so weird, and I remember Cam he went to try to jump it, and he just jumped on the mat. He ran up to it and just dove.
It's just nope.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and again, it's not easy to look at a bar that is. I mean, how tall are you right now?
I'm 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah, I mean, same here. So it's not easy to look at an object that's standing a full foot above you and say that you're gonna, force your entire body over that. So. How do you kind of overcome those mental obstacles in addition to staying calm, like you said before?
Honestly, it's just Coach Pap and Coach Yama making sure that I don't get too crazy. And yeah, it's pretty much just it. Because if I get too crazy, bad things happen. I'm not going to do anything good.
Yeah. So I think we've established a good starting point as to how you've gotten to where you are and where you are moving forward. Now let's put that record that you set into a little bit of a greater context. That 7 feet half-inch jump that you threw down on the 20th of October was not only the first 7-foot jump indoors by a New Yorker in 8 indoor seasons, but it was the highest jump since the overall indoor state record of 7'4" was jumped at the end of December in 2000. So to know that you could open your season with such a generational result, tell me what that means.
It means a lot to me, man. Just coming out with 7 feet, it's just, I have no words. It just shows how much work I put into the sport.
I think another way to look at it too, right? 2000, that's before you were born.
Yeah.
The last time someone jumped higher than you in the indoor season in the state of New York, you didn't even exist. That's crazy. I mean, it's a whole lot to kind of absorb. You've had a couple of weeks, though, to let it sink in. So where's your mind at now with track and high jump and sports in general?
my mind is I have to get better. You know, there's still people in the country that are better than me, and I don't want I don't want to lose to them. So I just got to keep pushing to be better.
Yeah, just, more Cam Correttes out there for you to beat. So, kind of moving forward again, your background is in basketball, as you kind of said towards the beginning. So where did you first get introduced to the high jump and your natural ability with it?
So in 8th grade, I was just doing like all the events at my school because I wanted to break all the records.
Okay.
So my dad, he told me I should try high jump, and I think I came in at 5 feet, and I remember everybody quit because they couldn't jump that. And
was it because they just saw that and they were like, no, I'm out, or they just couldn't do it?
Their coach pulled them out of it.
Oh, wow. So, you kind of discovered you could do that, and where did you go from there? Did you say, oh, I kind of like this, or did you more so see it as indicative of all the, the hops that you built up from playing basketball?
I didn't really think it too much about high jump, and then Jordan Goddard had me come out to one of the Tuesday meets here.
STL Cap.
Yeah. He introduced me to Pap and all the people. I think I high jumped 5'4".
Okay. This was still 8th grade?
Yeah, this is an 8th grade going to freshman year.
Yeah, that's that fateful summer, Mm-hmm. Cool. And, just further back from that, do you remember a time where you first, discovered that you could jump high, get that high vertical?
It was like 7th grade year, and I remember I dunked off an alley-oop for the first time.
Okay. That was another question I was going to ask you, so there you go. Thank you for answering that ahead of time.
Yeah. I did volleyball. I did volleyball for 1 year.
Okay.
And I just my coach would just say how my whole body was above the net every time I jumped.
Did they always put you on the front line there?
Yeah.
Oh my God, bump set spiking them. Oh my gosh. One thing I love too, just recreationally outside of sports, just beach volleyball is such a fun sport.
It is a fun sport. I play
It's such a fun game, pastime.
Yeah, I play whenever I go on vacation, I gotta play beach volleyball at least once.
It's got to be so there's this area near us. It's a lake called Lake George. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. That isn't from the upstate New York region, but there's this bay with a volleyball net in it, and you're standing in the water, and basically, if you're tall enough, you can literally just boom, knock it over. Yeah. And even if you're not, it's just so fun to just get your whole body out of the water just to jump and just to make an acrobatic play on the thing. So I think just, again, talking about the thrill of playing sports when you're young and just enjoying it, how do you feel that's translated over to such a serious event like the high jump and track?
I think it translated well over because my dad, he's a big track guy.
Yeah.
He went Penn. I think he came in 3rd at Penn relays.
For which event?
I think it was the SMR or 4x2.
Wow. Yeah.
So he's had me doing sports pretty much my whole life. Mm-hmm. I just every time I see something about him, I just gotta say I'm better than him. I gotta prove that I'm better than him.
Yeah. That's kind of even before you met the great Cam Corrett. That's kind of been your mindset from day one, I take it. So yeah, cool. And just coming back to the high jump, because again, it's not just about jumping high. There's technique to it. I mean, the reason why, I consider myself to have decent hops, but I cannot bend over backwards to save my life. So, adding the flexibility factor into it, how did you get better at that?
Yeah, my form was so bad freshman year, so Coach Yaman had me doing 2-foot backovers. We'd take 2 steps into it, and it would jump backwards. It was so weird.
I think I've seen those before, yeah.
Yeah, and we would do backflips on the mat, but you had to land on your stomach so you can completely arch your back.
Yeah, that's tough. Again, it's a lot to consider when you put it into an event. Muscle memory, building that up. Were there any moments where you kind of found your sweet spot and realized that, okay, if I keep doing this this specific way, then I can maybe get towards that big 7-footer?
So every time when I go to jump, my first 2 steps, I'll do this. I'll swap my feet back and forth, and I don't know, that started to happen in halfway through my sophomore year, and after I started doing that, and everything just came so easy, and I don't even know why.
Yeah. The way you described that was almost like a stutter step, which sounds completely unorthodox, but you find a way to make it work. I mean, I've seen you 4-step some pretty ridiculous heights before, so just knowing that you can kind of even do things instinctively. Have you kind of felt that coming along as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that natural ability just coming to the forefront. So again, where we are right now, I mentioned before you jumped the highest since the state record. Who was that state record set by? A guy by the name of Dan Olson, who went to Albany Academy, a nearby school, won 5 Division III titles with Wheaton College in Massachusetts, and even went on to compete at Olympic trials in 2004. And a guy who you also got the chance to meet at the Penn Relays when you went this past April. So tell me what it was like to meet the man who stands alone ahead of you.
To be honest, I was expecting him to be a lot taller, but
yeah,
but he's only, because in the videos I've seen, he looks like 6'5", 6'6" maybe, but he's like 6'2", maybe like 6'3".
Yeah.
But he just had so much knowledge and like wisdom over everything. He just told me like the way he broke down high jump just made it seem so much easier than it actually is, and yeah, it really helped me.
I got to give massive props to him because it's not typical when you meet someone for the first time that you're ready to have such a serious discussion about him. But like, what sort of other things beyond high jump did you find that you had in common with him once you struck up that conversation?
We both really didn't like, I forget what subject it was.
In school?
Like school. But
was it math?
It might have been math. No, well, he's really good at math. He knows like all of his Times New Roman. Like,
I used to be too.
Yeah. I forget what class it was.
Yeah, I mean, either way, finding you guys have something in common, makes you get that extra little belief that you can get to 7.4 at some point. Yeah. Of course, I mean, you've still got 2 years left of your high school career, so that's promising. But in addition to that, Dan, even though he doesn't compete in the high jump anymore, I found out that he won the USATF Masters title for the 35-30. He's jumping 6 feet 1.5 inches into his late 30s and early 40s. So does that kind of inspire you to, know that wherever this event takes you and this sport takes you, that you can keep it around as a lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. That's still super impressive. The fact he's jumping 6'1" at his age. Like,
I mean, at any age for an average guy, for an average, non-track and field professional.
Like, I don't know how his body is still like functional to do that, because I feel like all the soreness and all the wear and tear that high jump does to you, I don't know how he's fine still.
Do you feel that getting into the weight room more has helped with your recovery?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I recover so much faster now that my muscles are stronger.
I remember I used to be a outspoken leg day skipper, and every time I'd return to the squat rack after like maybe a month off, I would like swing under the bar, and I would just feel this rush of lactic through my legs. I'd be like, I'm done. See you next month. But now that I at least do it a little bit more often than that, maybe not 3 times. I actually did 3 leg workouts this last week. Drop a like for me. And drop a like for Ryan's birthday as well. But doing that more often, again, building up that muscle memory, it kind of alleviates that fatigue, and I'm glad that you're finding that now too. Are there any other things in your conversations with Dan that you took away that you'd like to share?
He told me that I shouldn't try to go for 7 feet every single meet, and that there's some times where I should just rest the whole meet. And then he told me that I shouldn't run the 400 as much as I do. He said I should keep to the shorter sprints.
Why not the 400?
I should keep to the 100, the 60, and stuff like that.
To get that explosiveness, yeah. I've seen you've run a couple of quick 100s and 60s when you've gotten the chance, which again doesn't happen often because you're often finding yourself on that mat in there. But yeah, how do you feel the speed has helped you? Because you even did a speed workout before we started recording this. So
the speed definitely helped. When freshman year, I was just so slow going up to the bar. It was just so inconsistent. That's the main reason why I wasn't jumping high until the end of the season. That's my speed. I was pretty much, it looked like I was running it looked like the end of a 400.
Yeah.
It looked like I had so much lactic acid built up in my legs, and then I looked like I was dying before I jumped.
I don't know. I saw you run a 400 once this summer at an exhibition meet, and you even split a 54. I mean, it's a 54, which would be my PR. I don't think I could even split it, but still, for a guy like you that's run lower 50s, I mean, you've showcased that you've got good speed endurance. So speed and speed endurance, you don't really think of them when you're on the high jump mat, but I think they add into more of an overall arsenal that you can use in any event. So, willing to be open to try other events, right? What would you say that that's helped you get better too?
Absolutely, it's helped me.
I think you almost interpret that like I was going to ask you if there was another event you'd be willing to try. Go ahead and tell us. Is there another event you'd be willing to try to help add to that arsenal?
I wanna try hurdles at least once.
Mm-hmm. What do you think Coach Pap would have to say about that?
I think Pap will let me do hurdles.
110 or 400?
She did say he might put me in 400 hurdles.
Oh, okay. So then again, Dan Olson said don't run the 400. He didn't say anything about the 400 hurdles. Might have to get Kyler Alston on call here. Our first guest. Definitely check out Kyler's episode if you haven't already. Agent 47 got to provide you with some more knowledge there, but you know, it's a shorter. I feel like if you did the 400 hurdles, it would be a lot easier getting over the barriers than your typical non-400 hurdler. Have you ever just tried doing it recreationally? I
tried doing hurdles like one practice for fun. Yeah. I remember Nick Rushford and Jaden Grimes and Josiah Goddard had me try doing hurdles once, and I just floated over it.
The high hurdles, right?
Yeah, and I thought I was gonna fall.
Yeah, that's another thing that's intimidating, even an object that's shorter than me, God forbid. But yeah, I feel like hurdles kind of take second place to high jump in terms of things that athletes in practice like to fool around on. I mean, I remember in modified practice, I would just look at a hurdle and be like, there's no way I'm ever going to get over that. Yeah, it's funny. Are there any other things in general that you found yourself taking a huge liking to as you've grown closer to track and field?
I like running the 200, even though I don't run it often, but that's probably it's either my second or third favorite event.
Behind?
Probably long jump.
Yeah. You've thrown down some low 21s or 22s, right?
Yeah, I got 22.6 at a Tuesday meet at Shaker.
Yeah. Again, that's another exhibition meet over the summer, so it says there's a lot of raw and tap potential there. Maybe a multi-specialist. Nick Millette 2.0.
I can't take that event away from Nick.
You know, I mean, again, I think if we've established anything about you, it's that you're a natural talent and you've gained that work ethic to help you get over those barriers that you couldn't get at the start, and that not many people can get in the end. So with that being said, again, it wasn't an easy decision for you to take up indoor this season, which you expressed to us that you're going to be doing. Are you still going to be on the basketball courts on the hardwoods this winter?
Probably in gym class. That's probably it, though. But
talk about the difficulty to give up the sport that you grew up with. Not necessarily give it up, but to choose something else over it competitively.
It was definitely a hard thing because I've been doing basketball since third grade. Man, I love that sport so much, but I just came to realization that I'm better at track and I'm gonna go farther with track. And you can still play pickup games when you're not high jumping, right? Yeah.
Do you have any big sports idols that you've looked up to over the years?
I looked up to Kobe Bryant. Yeah. I have his Mamba Mentality book. That's a deep book.
Do you remember where you were the day that it happened?
I was pretty much in my room and I was playing 2K.
Yeah. I was in my college dorm at the time and I had just gotten back from class. It was just you could feel your heart sink. It's just one of those days that the world stood still. But, have there been any times when you find yourself waking up, let's say on meet day, where you tell yourself you're going to go into that with that Mamba mentality?
Yeah, absolutely. The day of Junior Olympics when I competed, I just remember
this summer, right?
Yeah, this summer. I just remember waking up, and freshman year I came in second place, first time doing it, and I had something to prove this year, and yet again, hiding at nationals and at states, I just had to show everyone I don't choke at big meets.
And of course, that's still, as you said, in your words, to prove this indoor season. We wish you the best of luck with that. I got to ask you a fun question because I think we covered a good amount of ground to get to this point. Red track or blue track for the Armory?
I like the blue track.
Okay. I feel like you have the most impartial opinion that I could get because you're not actually on the track all the time. If you're on the track, then that's a different story. But, get an outsider's perspective. Yeah.
When I was warming up doing for our warm-up laps, it just felt so fast. Versus the red track didn't feel as fast. It might be because it's a new track, but
yeah. I mean, it might not sit well because your school wears a shade of red, garnet red, Colony, but you got to love that adaptability. Ocean Breeze is a red track, so there's that. That's the state meet facility for indoor track. you actually did get the chance to jump there. That was your first indoor competition last year, too.
Yeah, I did not do that good at that meet.
You're a foot ahead of where you were then. So, again, it's tough, though, because one other thing that I wanted to talk about before we ended is just the high variance that can come with an event with the nature of the high jump. Hamish Kerr, the Olympic champion, his seasonal performances had a 7-inch range, and that's not narrow by any stretch, even for a professional or an amateur. So what do you think is the biggest difference maker for you to having a good day versus a, by your standards, not so good day on the mat?
I can't let the pressure get to me. I just gotta make sure my mark's good. People aren't really complaining to me and asking me like 1,001 questions while I'm trying to compete.
Just gotta stay locked in.
Yeah, I gotta stay locked in and focused.
Any other big thoughts heading into indoor season, your first indoor season?
I just want to go undefeated.
Okay. Any other big bucket list items that you want to check off?
I gotta find out what like the national record for the junior class is, because I'm gonna go for that one
I
next.
think I gotta find that out too, because Lord knows I'll be tracking your every move there. I'm watching you. You all should be watching him too. Make sure you're following Ryan on social media, Ryan.Buskey, formerly The Real Showtime Ryan 4.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that nickname from, by the way, Showtime?
So Brandon Gordon gave me that nickname.
BG, class of 23.
Cause I was like the only freshman that was able to dunk, so they'll call me Showtime, and every time I go on the fast break they'll yell Showtime.
Yeah. Either way, make sure you're following Ryan and staying up to date with all of his seasonal performances. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this episode and subscribe for more. Any more thoughts, Ryan?
Nope, not at all. Just have a good one.
All right, thanks for joining, man.
Of course.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.